All right, it is 8:31. So Brittany, this is Jane Overbeck, and I'm one of the event leads along with Melissa Sherman on the MLC board. And today we want to welcome Brittany Parks. She's going to talk about lean tips to survive the holidays. This is supposed to be a good learning event. It's a good time to chime in, chat, and Brittany's going to do a great job. And she has her own consulting firm. So she's the owner and operator of BPPC.
Exactly. Yeah.
Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So honored to have this opportunity. And I got to tell you, I did not come up with this topic. Jane did. And I had a really fun time actually creating this. So looking forward to getting started. So yes, the topic today is lean tips to survive the holidays, presented by myself. And as Jane said, I am the owner and operator of Brittany Parks Process Consulting. So, introduction, here's myself. I have over 8 years of experience in health and safety regulatory and process improvement. I graduated from the University of Michigan with a bachelor's in business administration. I also hold several certifications such as OSHA 30, Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, Lean Expert, Leadership, and Project Management. And with all of that in my free time, which is very little right now because I also have an 11-month-old, I enjoy traveling, spending time with my family. And then my husband and I, we coach a robotics team here located in Lansing from 12th grade all the way down to 3rd grade. So that keeps us fairly busy too. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the featured lean topics, the holiday version, is going to be Hijunka, which is leveling the workload, one-piece flow, task batching, and 5S. Those will be the topics we will discuss today. So Hijunka, leveling the workload, and of course the holiday version given the season. The definition of Hijunka is a lean method for reducing the unevenness in a production process and minimizing the chance of overburden. So how do we think about that, the holiday version? So the holiday version definition is leveling involves smoothing the volume of production, right, which is going to be our holiday gathering task. In order to minimize the chance of overburden, it focuses on the process running smoothly, consistently, and effectively. So what are those benefits? So by smoothing or leveling the customer, which the holiday version is our guest requirements, over time, resources can be better utilized and continuous production, which is our holiday gathering task, can be ensured. So due to a typical holiday meal consisting of several appetizers, multiple meats, multiple sides, several desserts, and an increase of number of guests, our demand for production, which is our holiday gathering task, and our customer guest requirements are high. So on an average for a typical home dinner, we'll probably serve 2 to 4 people and most likely one main dish plus 1 to 2 sides. On an average for most holiday parties, we'll probably serve 7 to 20 people and make 2 to 4 appetizers, 2 main courses, several sides, and several desserts. So how does that compute if we wanted to kind of geek out with that with a little bit of math? So that's actually 3.6 times increase in production, which is our holiday gathering task, and 5.4 times increase in customer guest requirements. That's a big increase for a host who is preparing for a holiday gathering. So most hosts feel that they must take ownership of every single detailed task and meal item for the holiday. Or they want help, but they don't want an abundance of helpful guests all at once because they think it may be chaotic or it will take away from production, which is our holiday gathering task, or cause a variation of end product. So how do we apply the lean tool Hijunka, level the workload, the holiday version? Let's accept offering from our guests who want to provide a dish to pass. If a guest says, may I bring anything? Or is there anything I can prepare to take off your plate? Yes, let's accept that offering. Example, at my holiday gathering, I've hosted Thanksgiving for the last 9 years. My brother will bring a smoked turkey and I will prepare the ham. That lessens the workload for myself, which is the host. And two, accept helping hands from your guests. Our guests want to help with, anything that could help the host, smooth the process, get things done quicker. They want to be a part of the process. They want to feel value added. So what you could do as a host, if you have multiple offers of guests who want to help with anything, ask each guest to come over at a staggered specific time. Think about particular tasks that's within their skill set or requires no prior skill. Have some supplies ready, possibly with just, a step-by-step directions. It doesn't have to be like a full, standard work, but just, step 1, step 2, just to kind of have a couple of directions for them. And this will reduce lead time of how long it will take to have the holiday dinner completed. And also by not having an abundance of helpful guests arrive all at once. So this way, individually, you can greet them, get them set up with their tasks, and then allow you as the host to monitor progress, answer questions versus having the burden of all the holiday gathering tasks solo, and the burden of having so many helpful hands all at once. That, have you heard of too many cooks in the kitchen before? So if you stagger your helpful hands, this will allow those helpful hands to be put to best use. So my question to you is, what have you done to help level the workload of a holiday gathering?
I'll come off mute. Sorry about that. Hey, this is Holly. So I have 2 sister-in-laws who love to help. And it turns into a huge family event. So I have them come early, give them specific tasks, and sometimes even give them a list, and then put them to work. So, but that also comes with some other extra work or extra time that I may not have planned as well. So I have to manage that well. And Jane's laughing because she knows my sister-in-laws. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I like to do. Plus it gives me time to spend with them one-on-one.
Brittany, this is Jane. I think you should have let us know that we were supposed to invite our spouse to this presentation.
I like that. Next one.
All joking aside, one of the things we do to try and level the workload a little is I do most of the shopping, but my husband does help with the wrapping. So it kind of helps even the flow.
Perfect. Those are awesome examples. Anybody else out there have anything they want to share?
Typically, well, fortunate or unfortunate, I have a small family. I'm an only child, but I will give both my mother and mother-in-law a list of what they need to bring as far as food, so I'm not making all of it. And then my kids bring their kids, so that's pretty much the extent of it there. But just a list of food so we can keep it not to feed 100 people and only about 10.
There you go. Yeah, holiday leftovers only go so far, for sure.
I typically go to my sisters, so I offer to help and bring food.
And I'm sure she greatly appreciates that.
Hey, this is Josh. Our family's rule that if you don't help with the cooking, you do the dishes. So.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
That's a great rule.
It is. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for sharing. We'll go ahead and move on to our next topic. So that is perfect. So one piece flow, the holiday version. So the holiday version definition refers to the way products, right, our holiday dishes, move from one step in the process to the next. To have a single product holiday dish flowing between each process step. So the benefits of each product, which is our holiday dish, moves along the production, which is our holiday gathering task, process with no wait time, allowing a quick and efficient workflow to achieve a quick and efficient workflow, which in return allows your helpful guest to complete another task quicker and reduce the amount of time it takes to complete the holiday meal, which I know when I come over to somebody's house for a holiday meal, I'm holding out, eating light, maybe a few nuts, a granola bar, because I know that there's going to be lots of delicious food. And so I always arrive to somebody's house hungry, and I'm sure others can have similar stories as well. So I like to make ham rolls at my holiday gathering. And one of the things that I do is this is the task that I would allocate to a few of my family members or friends who are going to join my holiday gathering. And I utilize the one-piece flow method by having one person take the piece of ham, spread cream cheese on it. The next person then dries the pickle, places the pickle on the piece of ham, and the third person rolls it up and places it on the tray. So this is a way that I utilize the one-piece flow method for my holiday gathering. Who out there likes ham rolls?
Yes.
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 Awesome. You can also put green onion on there too, but I like pickle.
I've never put pickle. Is it good?
Yes.
Mm.
We started with the traditional green onion. Okay. And of course it's delicious that way. But if you want to, kind of elevate it a little bit, I guess, for an appetizer, for a piece of ham and cream cheese, pickle's the way to go for sure.
You definitely don't have the onion aftertaste because the pickle's a lot. I don't know,
Yes,
sweeter,
that is
but
true. That is true. Yeah, you always got that onion breath after a ham roll, but you still eat them. You still eat
Yes.
them because they're good. Yeah. So my next question to you is, can you guys think of any other holiday dishes that could be prepared using a one-piece flow method?
Pie. Making a pie.
Oh,
Yeah, making a pie can absolutely utilize the one-piece flow method.
Christmas cookies.
Yes.
Oh, that's a great one.
Mhm.
I've done
As
it
long
with
as not
lasagna.
someone eating them as soon as they're coming off the line.
Yeah. Well, there's
Yeah.
quality control in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's always a
with a cup
process
of
step.
coffee. with a cup of
100%
coffee.
protection.
I've done it
You
with
have to have
lasagna before.
quality.
Ooh, lasagna is a perfect example because of the layers and the consistency of the layers and steps.
Holly even had standard work for making lasagna. Okay.
Of course she did.
I had to make 26 pans, people, so there was a lot of work.
Yes, that's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, well, great. Thank you guys for sharing. All right, on to our next topic here. So time batching, the holiday version. And to me, this Lean tool, as hosting several holiday gatherings for the last 9 years in my home, is the key to success on making sure all of your dishes are hot and prepared on time. So any of the slides, if you're not taking notes, this one would be the one to take notes on or share with a family member who hosts holidays. So the holiday version definition is time management technique that helps you focus on a group of similar tasks, which in this case is cook temperatures during a given period. So the benefits are completing similar tasks, which we're referencing cook temperatures, all at once rather than addressing them sporadically and wasting time. So have you ever had too many items to put on the stove or the oven at one time? Have you found that you wasted time waiting for a burner on the stove to open or the stove to drop or increase to the appropriate temperature to cook the next item? Has anybody experienced that before?
Yes.
Yes. And this is the main thing. This is the main thing. So, and every year with continuous improvement, right? Every year I'm like, nope, I'm going to switch this sequence. I'm going to batch this together. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, just to utilize my stove and oven. And I always wish, man, I need a commercial setup, but it's like, I don't utilize this amount, this. I wouldn't utilize a commercial setup throughout the year. So I have to make best of what I have, which is, just what everybody traditionally has, a stove and an oven. So yes, I've asked. Does anybody have like a really good successful story that they'd like to share on how they've improved their method of utilizing their oven or stove?
I am fortunate to have a double oven.
Oh, okay.
And so one of them I keep in warm, and so like mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, I make those mashed. I do those early, and then I can keep them in warm in one oven. And then we cheat and we do our smoker for a lot of the meat. So it's just balancing all of that and timing of the day. So you get everything at a perfect temp, close to a perfect temperature.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. My mother has a double oven. But I just have the traditional right now. But yeah, that's awesome.
We so back to the lasagna caper. We rented a small warmer that you can get from an industrial cooking place. We rented one and it kept the lasagnas warm. So then when we served them, you didn't have to worry about the whole, temperature and cooking and things like that. But also we've used the grill to keep things warm outside, and those roasters.
Yeah, you bring up roasters. I utilize crock pots a lot. So once my item is finished cooking or up to temperature, I have like holiday crock pots that have like multiple spots all in one setup. But lesson learned, so many outlets can only handle so many crock pots. So over the years, I have crock pots plugged on one side of the house, crock pots plugged on one side of the kitchen. So that way we don't blow the electricity, because that's happened a couple of times.
There you go. Lesson learned, huh?
Exactly.
I did that for graduation for my daughter one year. I had everything plugged into one side of our garage, and yeah.
Blew the fuse. You can rent chafing dishes too.
Yeah.
Or you can buy them, but you can rent them pretty reasonably with the sterno to keep things warm.
Ollie, I have to ask, how come you needed so many lasagnas?
Oh, well, it was actually, so my husband does not care for turkey, for one. So for Thanksgiving, I must make a homemade lasagna. But the other thing is my son, who loves homemade lasagna, wanted that for his grad party. So it wasn't Christmas, but it was definitely it was a process. So yeah, it was for his grad party.
Perfect. Well, I'm learning lots from you guys for sure. And I appreciate everybody's feedback. Anybody else last minute comments before we move on?
We had a big family, and so when my aunt would host Thanksgiving, she would get to know her neighbors, and the ones that were going out of town, she'd use their ovens to cook food because they were so close. She'd have a key.
That is so smart. That is so
That's pretty
smart.
ingenious.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have better relationships with my neighbors now. Perfect. All right. So some of these we've already kind of touched base on. So how to apply the Lean tool, time batching. So create a process for grouping of tasks. So I typically have a list of all the items that I'm responsible for cooking, even in addition to some of the items that I have allocated to my helpful guests or attendees, that typically they'll bring it over and they'll want to warm it to a certain temperature or something. So I allocate time on my stove or my oven, depending on what they need. And I create a visual view of my time batching tasks. So within this time section, this is what's going to be cooking, and I align it to the temperatures. I always go with a low temp and then increase versus starting with a high temperature and decreasing. I found that starting with a low temp and then increasing, it's a quicker turnaround time than the other way. And then somebody else had mentioned this too, decide if any items can be prepared beforehand. So things that I prepare beforehand is like peeling and boiling potatoes. That could be regular white potatoes, that could be sweet potatoes. We always have macaroni and cheese, so I will boil off my noodles the night before. For deviled eggs, I'll boil off my eggs beforehand. For cheese trays, I always cut my cheese and drain my pickles and olives and all of that the night before, and I put them in Ziploc bags because, again, I don't have like a commercial fridge or anything like that. So for time, or I'm sorry, not for time, but for space requirements in my fridge, it packs better. And then when I'm ready, I can pull all those Ziploc bags out and have my helpful guests plate it on the tray for me. So those are kind of some things that I do personally to utilize time batching for the holiday experience.
That's one benefit of Michigan and Christmas. We usually have our outdoor fridge. That's just the natural cold of.
That's true too. Drinks, yes.
But frankly, you have to be careful with that too. We have dogs. And I had cakes outside before, and I had one of my dogs eat the cake.
Oh, no.
So you got to be careful about that.
Yeah.
My parents live in Alpena, Michigan, and my mom was running out of refrigerator space, so she put stuff out on the deck. And it was very cold in Alpena that Thanksgiving. So when you went to get the ham rolls, they were stuck and the whole plate moved because they had frozen.
Oh my goodness.
So you got to be careful with the outside storage sometimes.
Yeah. Maybe put it in a cooler. That way it's covered.
Yeah,
outside.
and we had frozen Jello too. So it was like, okay, everybody suck on the Jello so you don't lose a tooth.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Any other comments before we move forward? Okay. 5S. 5S is one of my favorites. I utilize 5S in my daily life, my work life, and now I get to talk about the holiday version of 5S. So I'm super excited. So the holiday version. So 5S establishes an organization system in which everyone in the workplace, which today we're talking about the household, participates to remove clutter and set spaces efficiently. So the benefits, more time is spent productively and less time is wasted finding needed tools and materials. So there's a saying for 5S that can be applied in your regular life, work life, or holiday life, a place for everything and everything in its place. So the number one S for 5S is sort. So in a traditional 5S, the definition is to decide what is necessary for normal operation. So for normal operation for a holiday gathering, we want to, I don't know about you, but my home ends up finding some cluttered junk mail, and I have an 11-month-old, so we have piles of toys and books and all kinds of things. So we need to remove what's not needed and have an open space, including unneeded furniture and other clutter that finds its way around the home. The second S is set in order. So traditionally, set in order would be by establishing a place for everything. So for a holiday gathering, we need to set a place for where's our food going to be placed? Where's our drinks going to be placed? Coats, shoes, trash cans. Think about the flow of the people when you have them over. How is the line going to flow for food? Are you going to have a double-sided flow line for the food table? Are you going to have a one-way single line for food? Or are you not doing a buffet style and maybe it's more of a family style? And think about prime real estate as well when you are placing things in order. And additionally, you also want to think about when you're setting up everything to be in place is, are you going to have a specific spot for like adult guests to sit and children guests to sit? Or is it going to be all one? Do you have a family member who may have a walker or a cane or something like that and needs a particular spot, close to the restroom, easy access to the food or drinks or the main holiday experience environment? So those are all things. I typically lay out like a sketch, just a hand-drawn sketch. And then the night before, my husband and sometimes my brother will actually move all the furniture for me and put it in place. And so by having it laid out with a sketch, they know exactly what furniture needs to be sorted out and what furniture needs to be set in place. They'll set up trash cans for me and all of that good stuff. The third one is shine. So traditionally ensuring everything in the work area is free of dust, grime, and in good working condition. So how do we utilize that for the holiday version? So in my home, yes, I get dust bunnies. I'm sure other people do too, especially when you start moving furniture around. And again, I have an 11-month-old. So underneath the furniture, I'm finding toys, half-eaten cookies. I'm finding cat balls and all kinds of stuff. So, as we're moving furniture, I'm sweeping up, tidying up, making sure that there's no tripping hazards either with like electrical cords. So I think about, again, with my crock pots, how I want my crock pots laid out. How is my cords going to be laid out? Making sure it's not in the way of foot traffic. When people come to your home, they're going to take their shoes off typically. Make sure that you have enough space set up where shoes are not piled up and become a tripping hazard. My coat rack at home only holds so many coats. So I typically, we have a downstairs bathroom and we utilize the shower rack for coats. So I turn my shower rack into a coat rack to help with the abundance of coats and scarves and hats and all that good stuff. And again, I'll have my trash cans in place. And another item for shine is a lot of my holiday dishes and equipment I don't use throughout the year, right? So I have them stored like in the basement or the garage and things like that. And so I bring them up the day prior and I make sure that I clean them. And, you can inspect the cords to make sure that everything's in working condition, that, there's no splices on the electrical cord that's not going to cause a safety issue or anything like that when I go to plug it in. Another thing that I have incorporated in the last couple of years is I have a specific table for children. And I've tried like the plastic reusable tablecloths, but the children end up poking holes in it and tearing it up. And then it's just like a disaster. And then you got pieces of plastic on the floor and then little ones are trying to eat it and animals are trying to eat it. So I actually went with like brown paper bag craft paper. And I put a few crayons out. And so it's kind of an activity and they have their own table and they can doodle all over it and do whatever they want. And they don't end up, I think because it's a little bit thicker, they don't end up tearing it up. And then it's easy to just throw away at the end versus having, additional laundry with like a real tablecloth, or being concerned that it's getting stained or messed up, or etc. And then standardize. So to set expectations and define reoccurring tasks to maintain. So standard operating procedures that can be used year after year to communicate faster and more efficiently, to keep on the course, to achieve the end goals of the holiday experience. Holly kind of mentioned that with how she has instructions for her sister and sister-in-law each year. Other standards could be an itinerary, a checklist for menu items, for who is responsible for which items. These visuals can be, these operating instructions can be visual, they can just be handwritten, but it's helpful for the guests. You can provide labels even for which dishes are gluten-free, which dishes may contain peanuts, signs for food items, signs for, where coats should go, boots, drinks, that kind of thing. So as people are coming in, they know exactly where they should place their shoes, where their coat can go, all of that good stuff. One thing that I haven't tried that I found online is this picture here of like a cheese and meat plate with snacks, and you can even place your item on like this craft sheet of paper, right? And then draw an arrow to where the snack mix is, where the pepperoni should go. And this could be something that you could actually have pre-set up even. So when your helpful guests come over, they know exactly how you want your dishes set up and where they should be. Another example that Jane actually suggested that she read in a magazine was if you have more of an elegant kind of style holiday party, you can use like a mirror and then use like a erasable marker, or if you want to use it year after year and have that set up the same, you can use permanent marker, and you can actually trace where each decoration would go. Such as, candles or little trees or beads, presents, all that kind of stuff. And this could be something that if you have a standard where you want everything set up at, you can have one of your helpful guests take care of that for you, because they'll know exactly where to place those items. And then last would be sustain. So by forming habits of consistency, by assigning responsibility. So we do all this prep, right, to have everything sorted out, set in order, cleaned up and shined, standardized. Now, how are we going to sustain this through the party, right? So I assign helpful guests to help refill certain food tables. So as things are getting low, they can be filling up crackers or, the mashed potatoes, whatever it may be. I assign people to be on the refill of the drinks, if it's in like a cooler or a chest or outside garage fridge, that kind of thing. And it creates I also create like a progress audit to ensure items are checked in at certain times. So I ask them, hey, on the hour, every hour, can you just do a round and make sure things are, topped off and looking good. So that way, all of the effort that we did to at least lay down the first amount of food and drinks and decorations is sustained. And then also I have them check on trash as well. So I have different trash cans throughout my household. And I double line those trash cans so it's easy to just pick up the one full trash can and then have another liner underneath. So that is 5S, the holiday version. So my question to you all is, can you think of any items that you do for holiday gatherings that would fall into a 5S category? Oh, Jane, you're on mute.
I'm thinking I want to come to your house for a party.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome. If you got my email, hit me up.
A Gamba
Put you
walk.
to work.
Yeah. We'll have our next Gamba walk at Brittany's house.
There you go.
I like the way you applied this to your holiday. It's really neat.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun putting this together.
Clever.
Yeah.
So I have an example. It's not something that I do because I don't host anything, but my grandma will get all of the serving dishes out like a week before and arrange everything how she wants it. And she like moves things around so that everything's in the right spot. And then she'll take a picture so that she remembers where she wants to put everything.
Yes. That's awesome. That is awesome idea. I love that. And then that picture you can, well, depending on if grandma wants to switch it up each year, but that picture, if she wants it the same every year, she could just pull that picture out and then, put her family to work on putting all the dishes out.
Yeah, we could get multiple S's out of that picture, I guess.
Yeah, for
could.
sure.
I don't take it anywhere near this serious or anything like that. I'm not much of a decorator, but I must say my cocktail bar is pretty robustly set up in a 5S manner. Keep it all on one side of the house and out of my kitchen.
Oh, yes. You gotta have, you gotta have some special drinks too, on the
Yep.
holiday. You got those guests that want wine or, a malt beverage of some sort, or even whiskey,
Yep, you just got to keep the ice out of the kitchen. You got to keep the cross traffic down. That's the
Right.
big
Exactly.
key.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because this was the first year that we went out of town for Thanksgiving, and my daughter said, what can I make ahead of time and how do you do this? So it's really interesting, Brittany, that you bring all these things into it, because I think you start to take things after you've done it a few years, you mentally start being able to organize it. But when it's your first time doing a Thanksgiving, it's pretty scary.
Absolutely. I would agree. This is 9 years of continuous improvement for me. And the first couple, yes, we had dinner, right? But as the host, I was exhausted. I wasn't utilizing my resources. I didn't think about how to time batch. I didn't think, about what I could prepare ahead of time and things like that. And so year after year, I just continuously improve upon and reflect and say, okay, I want to try this differently. And things still aren't perfect for me, and they never will be, right? Because perfect is not really achievable. There's always things that you can be doing to tweak and implement to make things run smoother and easier. So with this also, I want to say, my family, what was it, last year? So last year I was like 10 months pregnant, and I told my family ahead of time, I gave them a 2-month warning. I said, I'm too big and cranky to put on this whole holiday gathering. And so someone else is going to have to host. And they're like, what? Host? What? And I was like, yeah, I'll bring a dish, something that's not very heavy on the, workload, but I will contribute, but somebody else needs to. And so last year my brother hosted, and it was just interesting to see my family. They were like, well, this is the holiday this year. It doesn't have Brittany's sparkle on it, but it'll do. But you're going to host next year, right? And I was like, I don't know. We'll see. I kind of like just bringing a dish or two. Okay.
Well, this was really cute. Thank you for putting this together.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So if anybody has any questions, this is my email, this is my phone number, my website, feel free to reach out. If you want to go over any holiday tips or suggestions or anything like that, let me know.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Have a safe and great holiday, everyone.
Yep. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
holidays.
Thank you. Happy
Thanks.
holidays.
Brittany,
Yes.
could you put your contact information back up?
Yes. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Linda, we'll send this presentation out to everyone.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Okay.
good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brittany, send it to me and Andy, and then she'll make sure it goes out about the same time the surveys do.
Okay,
Perfect.
great.
Okay,
Thank you.
No problem.
thank you.
Have a good holiday.
You
You as
too.
well.